June 11th, 2025, this is DC Action News, reporting bravely and boldly every Wednesday as the news breaks from the center of the multiverse. I'm Alex Jaffe. Our top story? Titano takes on Supergirl and Supergirl. Right in the midst of the Kryptonian doppelganger debacle in this suburb outside Metropolis, an attack by Titano the Super Ape propelled both of Midvale's Supergirls into action. The gigantic mutant gorilla was miniaturized by one of the Supergirls, whose costume and lifelike Supergirl mask melted off in the process, revealing the town's hero as a no less heroic Supergirl imposter. The ersatz Supergirl, unavailable for comment, has been widely given the name Phonygirl on social media. Wherever you are, Phonygirl, Midvale thanks you. In Metropolis, the newly elected Mayor Perry White, in one of his first acts in office, has brought the Expo of Tomorrow back to Metropolis after a long absence. A showcase of innovation, technology, and promise for the future, it was at the Expo of Tomorrow that the original Superboy made his debut many years ago. In recognition of the occasion, the highlight of this year's return features an exhibit sponsored by Superman himself, where young attendants can try out the flight rings used by the Legion of Superheroes 1,000 years in the future. Parents need not worry. Special parameters have been programmed in the rings to ensure the bearer's safety, guaranteed by the exhibit's benefactor. And if you can't trust Superman, who can you trust? In smaller town politics, the strange tropical town of New Kooey, Kansas has an unusual new candidate in their mayoral race climbing up the polls, a waist-high extraterrestrial robot named Elron. Formerly an assistant to the Justice League, we interviewed Elron about why a robot would want to run for mayor, and his plans for this Midwestern hub of recent strangeness. Thank you so much for joining us, Elron.
One moment. It's Mayoral, please, if you don't mind.
Mayor? I mean, you haven't been elected yet. You're running for the office.
No, but it's my name.
Your first name is Mayor?
It is now.
My apologies then. Mayor Ron, or Mr. Ron. What can you tell us about your platform as a mayoral candidate?
Well, I was very literally built to serve. And there is no better way to serve all of New Kooey than as its mayor. As the main event's Mistress Tamarind so thoughtfully noted, I know everything about this new town, so I'm the perfect robot for the job. I intend to cut as many large ribbons and hand out as many oversized checks as I can.
I understand you have a past working with the Justice League of America. What was that like for you?
I had a wonderful time helping out the team. A strange lot. Though I particularly enjoyed working directly under Lord Maxwell. He reminded me a lot of my first master. To be honest, I'm not sure Justice League America could have functioned without me keeping them all together.
You're referring to Maxwell Lord, the ruthless businessman?
He was always very kind to me.
All right. I guess it's all about perspective then. I mean, did it change your opinion at all when he blasted a hole through Blue Beetle's head?
I've seen many masters do many things. Let's say I'm glad to not be working for him now.
Okay.
But I had a wonderful time.
Now, there's been a lot of weirdness specifically in the New Kooey area recently, with its supernatural terraforming and burgeoning metahuman community and both magical and super science incidents on the rise. How are you equipped to deal with that?
Is that not normal on Earth? My entire time on this planet, I've been surrounded by metahumans, superheroes, magical beings, super scientists, Martians, and all the kinds of people. Mistresses Fire and Ice and I never had a quiet life in Smallville, and life was never dull with the Justice League, so I suppose I'm equipped to deal with it because I don't know anything else.
You know, I've been covering the news every week for a while, and that's honestly a pretty fair assessment.
That's what I understand of Earth.
I mean, for a more specific example, I guess, because there is weirdness everywhere, but let's talk about the recent body swapping epidemic in New Kooey. Do you have any plans to address that identity crisis?
May I be candid with you, Master Alex?
I would love that.
As a cybernetic life form, this is not my first body, and I doubt it will be my last.
I haven't thought about it that way.
Yes, and as a being who has been body-swapped themselves, I may have ended up in another body being tried for another being's crimes, but I got to eat donuts, and I got to read a lot of Earth books, so I say it all worked out well in the end.
Ah, you're referring to the Despero incident.
Yes.
You and Despero still keep in touch?
As little as I can.
I wouldn't either. Let's talk a little bit about local business. Cord Industries has designated New Kooey as the site of their new gaming resort. Do you intend to govern the city as a Midwest gambling destination?
Well, if that's what Master Ted desires, I will endeavor to help him out as obsequiously as I can. I think Zachary Zatara showed interest possibly in a residency. I think we would hope to possibly serve some of the delicious pies from the area.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I need to compute the best way to help the patrons maximize their winnings, while also helping Master Cord maximize his profits. I'm not sure the best way to serve everyone in this scenario.
That is a problem when it comes to casino towns. Who do you want to benefit? John Henry Irons also announced his intentions to move steelworks to the Smallville area. How do you anticipate the arrival of big industry impacting the community?
Well, if His Ferrousness, Master John Henry, believes this move will benefit Smallville and the local community, then I will do everything in my power to help make it a success. I don't have much of a head for business myself, but I will always help out where I'm able. My new friend, Master Mo, has similar plans for investment in the local area, and I know he's a big fan of supporting black-owned businesses and the hashtag melanin community, something like that. So they may end up working together.
That would be wonderful. Now, I think it's time to address sort of the elephant in the room. We did some digging into your past, and we found that you were originally assembled by Lord Mangakon, an intergalactic supervillain. How can the voting public trust that you aren't programmed to turn them over to him if he ever returns?
Well, I would have gladly told you that myself, would you have asked? I served his thriftiness for over 3 centuries, and I can tell you that Lord Manga is no villain. He's just an armoured, gaseous entity with a passion for the art of the deal.
Troubling.
Look, I have been traded to and from him many times, and never has turning over the people of New Kooey been part of my programming. And he would refuse anyone being turned over to him for free anyway. He would insist on trading something for the citizenry of New Kooey. And don't forget, he offered to pay for the entire restoration of Manhattan after the Despero incident. So I believe he's an example I hope to follow as mayor, if I had any money of my own to speak of.
You heard it here first. Mayor Ron following in the footsteps of Lord Mangakon. Remember that when you go to the polls. We'll have the multiverse report after this.
Do you deserve luxury? Space cabbie. Do you demand to travel the galaxy in style? Space cabbie. Are you tired of the irregularity of zeta beams? The indignity of being ferried around the stars in a giant green baseball mitt? The chafed armpits that come with being carried by a hawk person? Space cabbie. Forget all that when you can have a retro future converted 1958 Edsel Corsair with those wheels that flip up on their side that signify its ability to fly. Space cabbie. Touches of black as dark as the night sky, in squares alongside white ones in a checkerboard pattern striped down the side. Space cabbie. All this in a gorgeous leather-oleum interior with no seatbelts and minimal duct tape patches. When you need to go anywhere in the vast emptiness of space, from the Justice League Watchtower to that creepy wall of statues at the end of the universe, forget those other guys. Stick out your thumb and call for me, Space Cabbie. Space Cabbie.
Welcome back to DC Action News. We go now to Earth Alpha for the latest from Absolute Alex Jaffe. Peace talks between the nations of Kahndaq and Karak, promising an end to more than a century of war, broke down this week, after the ambassador from Kahndaq's skull was crushed like an overripe tomato in Karaki Ambassador Omar's bare hands. Escalation on all sides is anticipated in the near future. Invest in weapons futures accordingly. In Gotham City, The Batman has been hospitalizing an unprecedented number of Gotham citizens with criminal records, inquiring after the whereabouts of one Waylon Jones, proprietor of Croc's Gym. Ambulances and rideshare services throughout the city have been entirely monopolized by the victims of Batman's brutality. Had the Batman merely consulted the police as we have, he may have learned that Jones is currently in custody at the Arc-M facility for breaking city curfew. More to follow with Count Jaffula on Earth 63 regarding the ongoing vampire war. Bleh! Following their escape from the hostile undersea vampire splinter nation of Atlantis, Mr. Miracle and the Miracle Child have been brought into the coalition of Queen Gordon and the human remainders. Our benevolent Queen, in the name of diplomacy, allowed Mr. Miracle and the Child to be remanded to the alien god Darkseid's custody for a treaty between our worlds. Darkseid only met our Queen's offer with further violence. In an act of vile betrayal, the gods of New Genesis have turned against us in alliance with the gods of Apocalypse, working together to end vampire kind before we might spread to the stars. How do you kill a god? Go for the neck. And that's all the news on our Prime Earth. We'll be back next week. For DC Action News, this is Alex Jaffe, and your day has now been saved. For more on these developing stories, read Supergirl number 2, Action Comics number 1087, Fire and Ice When Hell Freezes Over number 3, Green Lantern Corps number 5, Absolute Batman number 9, and DC vs. Vampires World War V number 10. DC Action News was created by Alex Jaffe and is produced by Alex Jaffe and Esper Quinn. Additional voices by Will Battle and Brian Gleine. This is a listener-supported broadcast. Your contributions to patreon.com/DCActionNews keep us running. If you'd like to contribute to this program as a newswriter or correspondent, reach us at dcactionnews@gmail.com. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of DC or Warner Brothers Discovery, nor should they be read as confirmation or denial of future DC plans. Never stop reading comics.